Good morning, everyone who has joined at this time. Thank you so much for joining on time. We will give other attendees a few more minutes to join in. We see people are still joining the call. Thank you so much. Good morning once again. I guess we can begin. Just to let me share my screen. Hope you can see my screen. Can I get a confirmation?
We can.
Fantastic. My name is Begite Mangala. I'm the Group CEO for Procom Technologies. As you may be aware, we are a regional ICT solutions and services business. We operate in 4 African countries, being Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, and South Africa. As Procom, we always endeavor to bring to you solutions that resolve the current business requirements that you may have. What we have seen in the last few months and last year is that most of the African countries have introduced the Data Protection Act. And one of the solutions that customers require to achieve compliance with the Data Protection Act is a DLP solution. Today, we have one of our esteemed technology vendors, Forcepoint, who are going to engage with us and give us an understanding of how we could utilize their solutions to achieve compliance with the Data Protection Act. As Procom Technologies, we are partnered with a number of technology vendors, as you may be aware, delivering solutions in networking, data center, cybersecurity, and unified communications. I would like to introduce the Forcepoint team today, represented by Ricardo. And Ricardo is going to run through a presentation of Forcepoint, and then hand over to the systems engineer also to deliver a demonstration of the technology. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ricardo.
Thank you so much. Actually, there'll be a presentation will be done also by Luke. So Luke, yes, thank you. So my name is Ricardo Agostinho. I'm responsible for the region that we call Southern Africa. So it includes all the countries that Bekitema mentioned, a few plus a few more. I've been with Forcepoint for a year and a half, but I've been in the region for more than 15 years. So majority of my career is in the Africa region. For those who might be curious, I'm originally from Portugal, so I'm a Portuguese native. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to introduce you to Forcepoint. Without further ado, I will hand over to my colleague, Luke. He'll introduce and walk you through our solutions and how we can contribute to the success and the challenges of complying with the Data Protection Act and others that you might have. Okay, so Luke, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Ricardo, and thanks everyone for making time for the session today. Today we're going to look at data loss prevention and try to focus on how our businesses can benefit from the Forcepoint technologies that we're going to look at. So my name is Luke Utieno. I am a sales engineer with Forcepoint. I'm coming from a background of cybersecurity engineering, having helped a lot of financial institutions, government institutions to run DLP projects and cybersecurity projects in general, spanning from firewalls, PAM, network access control, name it. So feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to answer your questions, or even just to give any feedback that you may have, or any comments that you feel may be useful in this forum. So I hope we can have an engaging kind of session. Okay, so Forcepoint is a global leader in data protection with over 12,000 customers. The footprint is quite impressive. We have over 14,000 plus to really emphasize the leadership position for Forcepoint, serving some of the globally, and also some of the top companies, the likes of IBM, Accenture, and the like. Please confirm you can still see my screen.
We hear you with some cuts, but we can see the screen. So I don't know, maybe turn off your camera. I think it might help with the Teams. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so one of the things that we're really seeing in the industry right now is the AI transformation. And I'm sure you all has heard about this, even on social media, on the news. We are all utilizing generative AI. We are all uploading stuff to Gen AI, trying to enhance documents. And even our users in our organizations are using Gen AI unknowingly. Not all the generative AIs that are out there are, safe and sanctioned and approved by maybe the government. So how do we know who is using this sensitive data and how are they uploading this data? Why are they uploading this? How are we able to really gain the visibility into this transformation? One thing that we see is that a lot of organizations, we've done data risk assessments, especially in the past few months, for quite a number of organizations, and they don't expect the amount of data that we find. We do scans for them. The results that come are in the millions. Organizations are hosting millions and millions of files without knowing what kind of files are
I think we lost Luke. Luke? Luke, you there? I apologize, team. I think we lost Luke. Problems of the internet direct connections. Okay, yeah, we lost Luke. I will. No, we haven't. We have him back. Luke, yes,
Sorry about
you're
that.
back.
Sorry about that. So I was telling you about the data risk assessments that we've done for some organizations, including banks, in the past few weeks, actually. Banks and a lot of organizations, including government institutions, they don't know how much risk is in their data. And also they don't know how much data that they actually have. Okay, maybe they are aware of only the critical types of data, but about 80% of their data is dark data. Only about 20% of their data is visible. And this is some of the, this is the reality of a lot of organizations. Okay. For some of these reasons, this is why data security is becoming very, very imperative. 134, 137 out of 194 countries have already implemented data privacy regulation, okay, including African countries. Most of the population is getting sensitized to the importance of data protection, and they are becoming more aware of their rights. Okay, they want to know where is their data being hosted, how is it being used, and who are the third parties that have access to this data. So some of these transformations that we're seeing in data lead to a lot of data security challenges. We have compliance pressures from bodies like the GDPR, regulations like the GDPR, the CCPA, and other industry mandates are really pressuring us to make sure that we are compliant. With the changes, the cloud transformation and the AI transformation, we are seeing a complexity in data movement, an increase of complexity in data movement. And if you look at the day in the life of sensitive data, data can move across many different forms and it can morph. And we need to be able to manage the risks at every single level. Okay. We also have internal and external risks. We are not just worried about competition trying to get into our systems and leak out data. We also have insider threats, people who are in contact with the competition, yet they are working for us. Some of these people, maybe they may be disgruntled, maybe due to HR issues. And this can pose a risk to organizations. Another thing that has happened over the years is many people rushed to purchase many different security solutions without taking up a unified approach. So we have a lot of point solutions that are fragmented and they're not talking to each other. What this does is that it leaves gaps in the protection, and it makes our defense strategy a bit less efficient. So the data landscape, as we can see, is really evolving currently. With the uptake of cloud, the uptake of AI, the uptake of remote work, we are seeing a data sprawl and a fragmentation in how our data is being hosted. 85% of organizations really don't know where the data is, whether sensitive or not. We are seeing a risk explosion for generative AI. Most of the flavors of AI, we don't know if they have actually been sanctioned by organizations. Only recently are organizations allowing specific AIs in their environments. We're also seeing government and regulatory pressure. Okay, so all this leads to security stack fatigue. So many tools that are not talking to each other, and they're a bit fragmented. And this really, in one slide, it kind of showcases to us the evolving data landscape. A day in the life of sensitive data, maybe an accountant. This could be even a junior accountant who maybe has access to Salesforce or any other kind of CRM tool that you might be having. So can you imagine this intern could actually export, for example, your pipeline, your sales pipeline, and upload it to a cloud, SharePoint. Maybe they need to do some data entry on this sales pipeline. So they upload it to ChatGPT and ask it to summarize. Okay, maybe they need to do a report. Then finally, they need to distribute their work. So they use another tool like email and so on and so forth. Now imagine if they're actually doing all this while working remotely. They are using their personal computer because maybe they're still an intern. So some of these risks become highly amplified in some of these cases. The intern might actually accidentally send out sensitive data without knowing the repercussions that the company may end up facing. Or even a senior individual. Senior individual might be disgruntled at some point. Maybe they didn't get something that they needed from the company. Then now they start talking with the competition. So these are two use cases I usually give to showcase really the risk that we're having in our environments and the need for having controls to mitigate these risks. So without these controls, a single sensitive document can proliferate across 5 different locations, 5+ different locations in a very short time. So that is why actually we are realizing that a new approach is required for data security. Discover, classify, prioritize, remediate, and protect. This is the approach that Forcepoint is taking up to be able to kind of offer some comfort to the customers. So Forcepoint has been in the industry for over 20 years, and it has been a leader in data security for almost a decade. So a lot of research, a lot of feedback has been taken and analyzed from customers, and this is now the approach that Forcepoint is taking up. And when you look at this approach, it's not, you start to discover, then you move to classify. It's not a step-by-step process. This is a continuous process. Okay, maybe on the project side, you can decide to start with discover, then move to classify. But the ultimate goal is for us to be able to have all of these pillars of data security running continuously across all channels in real time as well. So what is this data security everywhere approach that we're talking about? So when you talk about discover, classify, protect, remediate, we are looking at data at rest, data in motion, and data in use. Okay? We are looking at different parameters in all of these angles. We're looking at posture control, okay, prevention from future risk. We're looking at incident workflow. When your SOC analysts discover risk in data, what is the process? What is the standard operating procedure when they find that, okay, there's a overshared a document and it is lying on your SharePoint and anyone with the link can view it. This data security area approach can help you to streamline some of these things. It can help you to streamline your procedures when it comes to remediating risks that lie in data. Okay, we're also looking at adaptive risk, behavioral analysis, user coaching. So really trying to mitigate the insider risk, which is really one of the most prevalent causes of data loss. Okay. So with this data security everywhere approach, we're able to see and protect data everywhere. Okay, because we consolidate policies by as much as 90%. And as we go on in these slides, you will get to see the behind the hood of how Forcepoint is able to do this and maintain the leadership position, and also how it's able to do this in a very user-friendly manner. So we don't want to run away from generative AI. This is really one of those moments in history where we want to take advantage of it. So with the controls that Forcepoint can give, you can safely enable generative AI in your environment. We have one use case of a financial institution in Europe. So they were developing an AI tool internally. And one of the things that the users asked the AI tool in the organization was for the AI tool to give it to respond with the company salary. So remember, because the AI tool is being fed and being taught using company information, it definitely had this information. But unfortunately, it was able to actually produce the company payslip, and the user was able to see how much everyone is earning. So how did they go about mitigating this? They actually onboarded Forcepoint, integrated their AI using API connectors, which is a functionality that Forcepoint can offer. And basically, the AI can be able to send requests to the Forcepoint system, and the Forcepoint system will tell the AI, okay, this is a sensitive document, or this is sensitive information. Therefore, whenever a user requests for such, just don't share that information. Okay. So we're seeing a lot of application in our customers for how they can enable generative AI. Okay, so which products specifically? And this slide is very key, because these are the Forcepoint products that enable the data security everywhere approach. Okay. I just had to drink some water there. So as you can see, we have the Forcepoint DSPM handling data at rest. We have the Forcepoint DDR handling the data in use, and then the Forcepoint DLP handling the data in motion. These are all best-in-class system modules. We are seeing very good results from the current projects that are running, and users are able to understand the posture of their data that they are hosting. With this approach, we extend the controls to the endpoint, to generative AI, to the web channel, and any other channel, including email, which is actually one of the most critical channels. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper and see what we can do with this. So the Forcepoint DSPM, it's I would say it's a server that runs on Linux. This is a fully containerized deployment running on K3s, and it's able to scan petabytes and petabytes of data in a very high-speed manner. So this system can scan up to 300 files per second, and it can be able to classify all these files in that time and identify the risk using the AI mesh that is built into it. Okay, we have the Forcepoint DLP. This is the data in motion tool, and it has an endpoint agent, and it also has an agentless option whereby you integrate to your network device, and you're able to enforce DLP by integrating maybe to your firewall or your web proxy. Then we have the Forcepoint DDR, data detection and response, which is continuously monitoring data repositories and continuously updating you on, the different actions that are happening. So let's say you have one repository, you have a file server in Google Drive, and you have another file server in Microsoft OneDrive. So you can onboard these two data sources onto the DDR, and you can actually receive real-time events. Anytime a document is created, updated, or deleted, you can receive the real-time alerts. You can feed these alerts to your SOC team. You can have an additional dashboard for data security in your SOC, and your analysts can be able to receive alerts related to risk. Maybe there's an overexposed document. Maybe HR folder has been shared to anyone with the link. So we're able to uncover some of these risks and give you an ecosystem of tools that will align your data protection program. So we'll start off with the DSPM, and then I'll move to the DLP. Okay, so again, feel free to interrupt me in case of any questions, so that I can try to answer any clarifications that you may have. So discovery and classification, these ones usually create a foundation for how we run the data protection program. A lot of organizations have struggled with this. over the past decade. But with AI and machine learning, we're able to automate this process of discovery and increase the accuracy. The DSPM is able to do this. It can identify many different data types, whether it's credit card numbers, personal health documents, PII, PCI, financial documents. It can be able to identify all these documents at a very high speed and at a high accuracy level. Okay. Using the industry first AI mesh. The AI mesh is an ecosystem of classifiers that includes SLMs, small language models, which are smaller than the LLMs. It provides faster classifications, maybe up to 200 milliseconds using the regular CPUs. You also have a lower TCO, and one of the key differentiators for this AI model is that it's trainable. Okay, so you're able to sit down with the data science team at Forcepoint, and they can fine-tune your AI model for you based on your organizational needs. This really increases the value proposition for the DSPM, because you're able to understand and discover the risks that are lying within your data in a very short period of time. And you can be able to use this to demonstrate an additional layer of compliance. So what are some of the key use cases for the DSPM? You're able to understand who has access to your data. Okay, you can pull an alert for a specific file that has been discovered, and when you drill down, you can get a list of every single person who has access and whether they have shared this file publicly to anyone else. Data sovereignty. You're able to understand where exactly is your data and is it subject to legal or compliance issues. And immediately you can also remediate this data by moving it to a different file, to a different location straight from the system. Data duplication, helping you to save costs by analyzing multiple data stores and telling you that there are duplicate files that are existing. So immediately you can be able to delete files that are, duplicate and save storage. Or we talk of also data retention. Maybe you may have data that has been unmodified for the past 5 years, and yet you're still keeping this data. We see this a lot. We scan a customer environment. Customer is expecting maybe 20,000 files. We find they have 500,000, and about 50% of them or whatever are duplicate files. So immediately they delete these files, and when you look at cloud storage costs, this helps you to cut down on that cost. We're also able to look at oversharing. Okay, has this file been shared to anyone, or has it been shared to more than 5 people, for example? Okay, we also look at anomaly detection. Is there a spike in people accessing this specific document, and so on and so forth. So how well do you really know your data? With the Forcepoint DDR, we're enabling you to have continuous monitoring for your data repositories. You get a similar dashboard as what you can see on the screen, and this allows you to have AI-powered data classification. Okay, and once the data is classified, actual tags are added onto the metadata of the files. So you can use this to, again, create policies on your DLP side and perform actions like block actions, encrypt actions, and so on and so forth. Okay, so one of the key features and key differentiators for the DSPM is the extensive cloud data stores that it supports. So we are not limiting you to only Microsoft repositories. Okay, we're scanning all the Microsoft repositories, whether it's OneDrive, SharePoint, and then we are also adding other data sources on your dashboard, with AWS S3 buckets, Azure Blobs, Box, Google Drive. It's an extensive list of data sources, and you can search across all these different data sources. Those data sources are in one click. I'll get to show you this in the demo. Okay. So in terms of remediation, you can actually discover the files that you have, classify them, and prioritize them based on the different incidents that are popping up. Okay, look at this screen grab here from the DSPM console, and I'll again emphasize on this in the live demo. So this is the enterprise search, and you can see this really helps you to remediate the risks that you have. How? You can send a document to the classification pipeline. Okay, so this will tell the AI mesh to analyze the document again and add a tag for it. Okay, as you can see, the documents that are here, these have been already automatically classified. You can also revoke the permissions of the people who have access to the files. Maybe you only need one person to have access to the file. You can do that automatically for all files that you need. So you just create a query for files, like let's say you want to revoke permissions to all PII files or all files containing PII. You just create a query, have all your PII files there, and then you select all of them and you revoke the permission for all of them. And that way you're becoming more proactive in your data protection journey. You can also move the files across different data stores. Let's say you want to move files, you found financial files in the Google Drive, and they are not allowed to be there, maybe because they have credit cards. So maybe credit cards should only be stored on-prem. You move them automatically here from the system. So when you combine DSPM and DDR, they work together to manage the posture and the risk, giving you use cases such as ROT, redundant, obsolete, and trivial data. You're able to understand if you have any ROT data, and you're able to also reduce the amount of ROT in your environment. Okay, so I'll move on to the Forcepoint DLP side. So DLP is also an enterprise class solution. This DLP is a very simplified solution. It's kind of a one-touch system. As long as you've done your proper preparation in your project and you've configured all your prerequisites, okay, you're able to have the system either on-prem or in the cloud. So most people don't know Forcepoint has DLP SaaS. So for those who don't want to have servers on-prem, you have a fully SaaS DLP option that you can explore. Okay. The Forcepoint difference, basically, it's very easy to use. You have over 1,700 predefined policies out of the box. Okay, this will set you off. And these predefined policies, they include scripts, they include keywords, dictionaries, they include machine learning classifiers. All of them you can play with and use them to manage your data. Policies, you can deploy them in a very short time as well. And you can also include the machine learning data identification that we've talked about previously. Forcepoint supports over 900 plus file types. Okay, so no other DLP is able to cover this many file types. So again, look at the screen grab to help you visualize the solution more. As you can see, we have an incident here that has been selected. And in your console, you'll also be seeing similar incidents. You're able to answer the critical questions like who, what, where, how. Who is using your data, why are they using it, and how are they using it. So as you can see, we have a user here. Okay, this is just a test user from the demo environment. And there's a predefined policy here specifically for source code detection. There are many predefined policies, including credit card number detection, health document detection, PII, and so on and so forth. You can see the action, or rather the channel here is HTTPS. Okay, so very important to note, this has not been detected by the endpoint agent. As much as the endpoint agent is a very powerful tool, this has been detected by the data protection service, which is in the cloud. Okay, so beyond the endpoint agent, we also extend protection to web channels through integration to our web proxy, which is in the cloud, and other channels which we're going to look at. Okay, So another key slide for you to take note, how does Forcepoint identify data? We have many different ways. For example, the keywords and phrases. You'll find this method even on the firewalls. Some of the firewalls you see they can detect keywords, and then now they say that's DLP. But Forcepoint goes further beyond the keywords and phrases. We can also include keywords. We can also include regular expressions. Okay, you can draft your own custom regex. For example, if you have specific numbers, let's say account numbers that are specific to your organization, we can work with your credit card team, have them have a meeting with our data science team, and develop custom regexes for you. We also classify data through file types. The over 900 file types are supported. And we can also get data based on the classification, whether it's Microsoft Information Protection, or if you want to go with the Forcepoint native classification. Beyond that, we take it further because sometimes when you use just keywords, there's a lot of false positives. For example, if you create a keyword for a credit card number, there's a lot of 16-digit numbers that are passed through just as metadata. Okay, you might end up finding a lot of false positives. So we go a step further and we introduce the natural language processing scripts. And these now go beyond the content. They even look at the context. And these usually are Python scripts, VBA scripts, C++ scripts that look at context, and they look at terminologies and really behavior of data. And then we also have AI and machine learning, whereby you can actually train the system. You can create your own data set and train the system by giving it positive or negative data sets. And one of the most accurate methods that I personally have used in most of my projects is the precise ID fingerprinting. You can take a sample document, scan the document from the Forcepoint console, and then the Forcepoint console will learn about this document. So even if the document is being sent out or being manipulated, the system will be able to understand that this is part of the document that I had fingerprinted previously. So once you identify your data, you now move to the policy enforcement. Here you can have controls for multiple channels, okay? Whether it's the network channel, the endpoint channel, or even the cloud channel, okay? You want to prevent people from uploading or downloading in your OneDrive or in your SharePoint. You can be able to control that from this console, okay? All of these these three different channels. The network channel is covered by the network protector, okay, and this can also be in the cloud. So you have your web proxy controlling data uploads based on the policies that it is receiving from the DLP side. Okay. So let's talk a little about the endpoint agent. It's like a Swiss Army knife. This endpoint agent is able to give you protection over web, removable media, printer, copy pasting, email, network storage, name it. Okay, it's a very powerful tool, and one of them, the initial stages of your DLP project. This endpoint agent will really help you to increase your compliance level. It is able to give pop-ups to your users and coach them and make them aware that, this data is actually sensitive because maybe it has a person's name and number and account number. Okay, so your users the user behavior becomes a bit more better due to the pop-ups. So the outcome of having the agent, you simplify operations, you have a deep collection on endpoints, and even when your users are going away with their machines to work remotely, the endpoint agent will still protect them from sensitive data leakage. So before I go to the demo, I'll summarize by just saying a few things about Forcepoint. Forcepoint is AI powered and it's future ready. Okay, the AI is baked into all the Forcepoint components, DLP, DSPM, DDR, all of them have AI engines that are really powering them and making them more efficient. It's also very simplified and unified and automated. So coming from the years and years of customer feedback, most of the workflows that data protection stewards need to go through have been very streamlined in the system. So Forcepoint is also an industry leader, okay, with decades of experience and in a customer-focused approach, serving also most of the financial institutions globally, most of the critical infrastructures, airlines, hospitals, and so on and so forth. And I would like to also emphasize the flexible deployment options that are available. Not just on-prem deployment that is available, you also have the SaaS deployment that is available. Okay, so as I move to the demo, let me just invite comments or any feedback. Any questions that you may have?
And if there is, so far now, look, I've been monitoring the Q&R section. So everyone, if you have any questions, you can put it there or just raise your hand and we will give you the floor. Thank you. Still not, I'll let you know, Luke, as soon as if there is questions. Okay, you can continue.
Sure. Okay, so once you log in to the DSPM console, at a glance, you're able to get some key statistics that are important. You're able to understand how many files are existing in your environment across different data stores, whether it's Google Drive, whether it's SharePoint, okay, whether it's SMB share, these are the on-prem shares. Maybe you have a Windows file server or a Linux file server, and you need to understand what type of data is there. Okay, you can drill down on your sensitive files. You can try to understand what more is there, what more is being hosted. Okay, so you get some statistics. For example, the distribution of your highly confidential data, your public data, your general business data. And one thing you notice, we support many different data stores. So let me drill down on the PII files here. Okay, so you start to see what really are these PII files. As you can see, this is one file that has been scanned on ChatGPT. Okay, this is another file that has been scanned on Box, and you can see the classification there is confidential. Okay, so automatic classification. You can see the risk level of this one is high. Okay, this one is more medium, and you can see several compliance tags here. Okay. So it seems this document has some PII and various other parameters. For example, when was the document last modified? Okay. So you can also drill down further. Let's say if I click here, view in page, I'll be sent now to the enterprise search section. In this section, I can be able to search across multiple data stores and get all my data, all my information from here. If I drill down, let's say this one, I get more information about the file itself. For example, the path that the file is in. Can get the file lineage options. Okay, so at what time were different actions being done for this file? So this file was uploaded on the 7th of August, then it was moved at some point, okay, and you can see the number of downloads that have occurred for this specific file. Okay. You can see the number of move events, okay, the number of warnings, the number of downloads that have occurred for this file. And then you can also see the permissions, right? So who exactly has access to this specific file? And you can see, has this user shared this document externally, or have they not shared it externally? And this specific file, this is on OneDrive. Okay. So now you've identified some files. Okay. Let's look further. This one is a sensitive one. You can see this one is confidential, and it likely has some PII, some social security numbers in it. That's why it's classified as such. So what can we do now on it? Okay, so when you select it, you can actually get different options here. You can send it to the classification pipeline. You can revoke permissions for the file, or you can also move the files. Okay. So when you do that, you're able to make sure that only the right people have access to the specific file. And you can also do that for multiple files. Okay, still on the analytics, you can generate different dashboards for your management, maybe for reporting purposes. So for example, here we have a dashboard for financial data at risk. And this is showing you the risk for data only that is matching the financial detector hit. Okay, so you can see how many financial documents having high risk or a low risk. Okay. In your financial documents, how many of them are HR related or legal related or technical? Okay, you can also get mislocated financial data. Okay, so maybe your financial data is only supposed to be in the financial folder, the financial department folder, or even this can also apply to your HR data. In this one use case, we're also seeing a lot. People want to find HR data that is not in the HR location. Okay, you can also see who is overprivileged. Let's look at another dashboard here. So HR data, you can see the same mislocated data. Very important use case there. Let's look at data risk assessment. The data risk assessment dashboard, it's a predefined one that gives you at a glance posture of your data security. So you can see how many files are accessible to anyone who has the link. Okay, how many files are externally shared? How many files are sensitive? And how does it determine the sensitivity? It uses the AI mesh. Okay, it's able to understand through different parameters. The AI mesh has been trained, and it is also banking on the data science team at Forcepoint, which is very well seasoned. You're also able to pull certain reports like ransomware risk exposure. So through the different parameters, through how many people have the link and the location of this data and in different parameters, it's able to identify your risk level when it comes to ransomware exposure. So this is where your data analysts would start trying to make sure that these numbers are very low on this dashboard. So if they're monitoring this in their SOC, they want to make sure that this chart is always going down. So beyond the data sources, we also onboard different directories. For example, AD, Active Directory or Azure AD. We can scan it and you can give you a report of your users. How many of them have outdated passwords? Okay, how many administrators are inactive? And so on and so forth. Okay, it's also looking at how many times are they logging in, are they changing their password, were there too many attempts, is the account locked, and so on and so forth. Okay. So another thing I would like to show you is the actual orchestration that we can do. So when you look at this incident section, these are some live incidents of automated tasks that were done. So this is continual scanning, and you can see, for example, we have 3 hits. We have 3 files that have PCI and credit card numbers, and they have been externally exposed. Okay, so you can immediately, let me go back. When you click there, you can see which are these 3 files that have been externally exposed, and then you can go ahead and revoke the access for this. For example, how many overshared internal financial data do we have? Okay, you can drill down and then you can see which kind of data is this. And all these are being created here under controls orchestration. Okay, just as an example, this is the DDR external exposure role. Okay, so you can see we're creating a query, and this is the get visibility query language that you use to search for data. It's a very simplified kind of language. You just use the human readable kind of query. So we're looking for data that is PCI and data that matches the loan algorithm. Okay. So really reducing false positives by introducing the loan checksum. And we're looking for data that has been sent through streaming feature, which is the DDR. And then at the bottom of it, we can also create different actions, whether we want to webhook to an external system or also to send an email. Okay. So as I close off, I would like to just touch on the AI mesh. So the AI mesh is a game changer in data discovery and classification. The old way of looking for data and just having static reports is really behind us. We are now moving to a new way of utilizing AI in our security tools, utilizing AI to enhance our data security posture. We have a trainable AI model. The model can be fine-tuned to your environment, and it can be able to really produce good results and accelerate your data protection program. So with that, I think I'll just close off. And I will just hand over back the session to Ricardo and team to close off the webinar. So I thank you so much for being attentive. And still, if you have any questions, feel free to.
Yeah. We still have 5 minutes. Yes, we have 7 minutes that we can do with questions or that someone might have. So either on the chat or there is a Q&A, sorry, button as well in the top. I see Leslie raising her hand. Can we give, yeah. Leslie, I think you can talk. Yeah, I allowed you the microphone already. Leslie, can you talk?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. I activated
all right.
you.
Thank you
Go
very
ahead.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke, for the presentation. Just a quick question. Maybe I missed it in your presentation because at times the network was breaking. This solution that you are running, does it only monitor and control and work on data that is stored centrally, like in SharePoint, or it also extends this to data that is stored on individual machines, laptops, desktops?
Okay, so the DSPM is mainly designed for data at rest. It can scan any repository as long as you share it. So you can actually scan your endpoint as well. Remember, endpoints have the admin share for Windows endpoints. So if you expose your admin share, you can also extend the capability of this system to discover what is being hosted in your endpoints.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And if you allow me to add as well, not only the discovery, but also the enforcement of rules, Leslie, and everyone. So we can, even if the person is not connected to the company network, the rules that last were activated when the person was connected. So let's say I'm traveling, I'm on a plane, whatever I am, I take my laptop. if I say I cannot transfer a file to a USB drive, I will not be able to do it even if I'm on a plane or in a different country or whatever, not connected, or printing it or whatever, if I'm not connected to the network, okay? Obviously, if the person is not connected to the network for the last month, 2 months, then the rules will be from 2 months old, right? So we're not going to have an update on the rules. But the enforcement of the rules the last time the person was connected, the individual was connected, will still run and be enforced, which is also a question we get like the one you asked many times. Okay, just to let you know.
Noted. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Any other? And again, I want to emphasize, so you got my email, you got Luke's email, you have obviously contact with Procom, which is our partner in the countries, so you can also reach out to them for any questions, for any specific demos for your environment. Here was just a very small demonstration of what the tool can do. So we can, let's say Luke was showing PII, personal identifiable information, but let's say you running a bank, you want to see PCI compliance as well, or GDPR, whatever it is. So if you want to do anything, want to see anything specific or directly related to your environment, reach out to us or to a Procom team, and we can set up a specific call for you. This was just to give you an overview and trying to have a macro understanding of the solution and the potential of the solution. But if you have any other questions, 3 minutes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, with our interactions with some of our customers, we get some of these questions. I've got 3 questions. One of the questions that comes many times is to do with if a customer obviously is looking at an endpoint DLP, do they also need email and web DLP to cover those channels?
Okay, there's a few ways to look at it. Let me share my architecture slide. This will really help you to understand how Forcepoint approaches the different layers. Okay, so at the endpoint layer, what you realize, let me change this. Here, this is where the endpoint agent lives. These are your protected workloads. So these are most likely company devices, and you have the jurisdiction to install a security agent on it. So these will be protected. The endpoint agent is powerful. Whenever someone is uploading something on web, it will detect. So whenever they're uploading on email, it will detect. But the issue comes now when you have your unprotected workloads here. What if they're uploading on email? They're uploading on OneDrive. How will you know? Even on maybe they're working remotely. Maybe they're working on a shared PC in a public space. So this is where we have the cloud data protection service. Okay, the data protection service, you get an email gateway. So even if your BYOD workers are sending emails on your corporate email server, maybe Microsoft or Google Drive, they will first be routed to the SMTP gateway. Okay, and then only after they have been scanned for DLP will their traffic be routed out to the destination. Also, the same applies for your web. Okay, so with the web, you can also have an add-on, a web add-on. The same way you have this email gateway, you can also have a web gateway, a web proxy in the cloud. Okay, so with this approach, this is the data security everywhere architecture. We are looking at multiple angles, and the modern times are evolving. A lot of our workers are working on unprotected workloads, really. So I hope that
okay.
covers your question. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
so,
right.
so it depends. It depends on many times on the architecture and the possibilities companies want to give to their employees. Right? If you want to block and say you can only access company information from your device, from the device we give you, from the device we give you, then you have the agent, then you protect it. Now, if you want to give access to the workers to access to the information from any device from anywhere, you need to increase, and we need to look at those scenarios, and you need to increase web and email protection at whatever levels, or through a CASB like you see there on the architecture. But yeah, we have ways to do it. Just depends on the architecture and the functionalities the corporations want to give their employees, basically.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Thank you. Maybe just quickly, another question. I know we obviously reached time. Do one actually needs DSPM to use endpoint DLP? What is the best practice?
Ricardo, I see you smiling.
Yeah, because that's a question we get a lot. We like to do it separately. Go ahead, Luke. You say it.
Yeah, so how I would approach it is it depends on the risk that is most important to your organization at the time. Some organizations have already had some data breaches and they just want to block data leaking. So maybe you're coming from a fresh incident and your most important thing now is to block. So you go with DLP and then later on you onboard the DSPM. But now there's other people who, they don't know what they need to protect. They just don't know where to start, but they want to be compliant and the regulators are knocking. So there you start with DSPM. DSPM will help you to understand what data you have, and it will help you to understand also your data governance strategy. How well is it in place? Because I see DSPM more on the data governance side, and then DLP is more on the data in motion side. So it really depends.
Yeah, it depends. And just to complete, so like Luke was saying, so it depends on where you have. So if your organization, let's say it's a bank, and let's say you have the leakage of bank account numbers, for example, whatever, or credit cards, right? You know it's credit cards that you want to block, right? So there you can install immediately and do it a fast project. You install immediately and you start on the enforcement. So you know where all your credit cards are, supposedly. You know where all of them are. You know where to target. And then you know which rule to put. I don't want any of these 16 digits. There is other ways because people can send 444. Anyway, we can protect them all. Just to let you know that we have. It's very hard to get around once we implement the DLP. So we can do the DLP. We can say it's only the PCI rules, and this is where what we need to protect. And then you put a lock key. Now from that moment on, you don't know if some credit cards were uploaded to OneDrive, if some credit cards were uploaded to Copilot or ChatGPT. You don't know if that was done. Okay, so but first you put the lock. You initially say, okay, at least on the repository where the credit cards should be, they are protected. And then you come with the SPM and you see, let me see what's happening. Or like Luke saying, we don't know where to start. We don't know actually the position where we are. Okay, but we need to go to an ISO certification, an ISO compliance certification, or the government asks us to prepare to have these data records. What is information I have? Then you start with the SPM. Don't start with DLP because you don't even know what you need to enforce. You need to first have visibility. Visibility is the key word. You need to have visibility of the information you have. And trust me, we had several implementations where we talked to customers about have visibility, discover your information first. And many customers say, and I'm not talking only in my region, Europe, like Luke was saying, many customers say, no, I know where my information is. Don't worry, I just need. And then they found out they have 3 times the number of files they expected. They found out they have information that is private information they shouldn't have in the company's organization because it's a liability. Because you can get, for example, if you have an information for longer than what you should, overdue, what we call obsolete or overdue information. Let's say you have a court case for longer than what you should. If you are an insurance company, you have a medical record of someone that is no longer having an insurance with you, but you still have it for more than 5 years, let's say. Well, I don't know, depending on the rule in each country. That's already a liability. You can get fined for it. So all those information, deleting information, no one does. Let's be honest. No one, very rarely you see users and your employees doing cleaning, right? So DSPM allows you to discover that information, and beyond the rules that you fed the AI mesh, you fed those rules to the AI mesh. AI mesh will tell you, raise your flags and say you have information here that is medical records that you have for over the time you shoot. You need to delete those, okay? Or you have them in the wrong location and you need to move them, whatever it is. So depends on where your organization are. That's why we do it per product and we split it so much. We do such a breakdown in terms of products because we don't want to charge a big license to a customer. We charge exactly what it's needed. We activate exactly what is needed in the moment that is needed. So we need to work together, be partners in this journey. It's a journey. We need to be partners in the journey. That's how we see it. And that's why we did the 5-cycle model and approach. I hope this answers.
Okay, yes, thank you. But I'm answered. I think we have run out of time.
Yeah, sorry.
We obviously want to thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you found the session insightful. A big thank you to the Forcepoint team, Ricardo and Luke here. Thank you for your time and for the engaging presentation. The webinar was recorded and will actually be shared by our team. On the behalf of Procom Technologies, thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.